different neuronal activity from the brain and train pathway that they got you locked on. Okay? So as a result of you doing all this back and forth thinking, mental gymnastics, that's causing a lot of different neuronal processes to fire while you're walking up and down the aisles and using your arms to grab things and maybe set them back, or grab things and put them in your cart. That's motor cortex associated behaviors. That also causes other neuronal processes to fire, causing you to fall off the entrained pathway that they got you locked on, that they're locked on to. See, and when Gangstalking props up a useful idiot or a syndicate wannabe or a syndicate member to walk by a gangstalking victim and say a trigger word, that trigger word's got a specific sound. Now, are you starting to realize why I got suck dick and gangstalking, oh my God, caught probably at least 900,000 times, concerning how many times it is said on 8,700 audio files. That's no exaggeration. Hold on one second. Let me light a cigarette. That's no exaggeration. Now, that's why I told you to bring up that sound spectrum analyzer. You should also know that when low hum mufflers, retrofitted cars, Google that to gangstalking. Retrofitted mufflers and gangstalking and car convoy noise harassment, when it goes by my area, sometimes nonstop, including specific humming noises from airplane engines that also seem to be going by my area, sometimes nonstop all day, while the low hum mufflers are going by. I've already brought up my signal sound spectrum analyzer when that shit's going by, and guess what? It's literally reading out the same exact identical readings as the word gangstalk, oh my God, and suck dick. Now, it doesn't matter how this sounds to you. Because let me tell you something right now. A sound spectrum analyzer cannot have a mental illness. Because think about what I'm saying. When you go to Google and extensively research the following: gangstalking, car convoy, noise harassment, gangstalking, car convoy, noise, muffler harassment, including mufflers that sound like they have a long hum to them once they pass you by. A specific hum. Then when you go to Google and you type in at gangstalking, at Google, gangstalking and airplane noise harassment, helicopter noise harassment, you're going to see this is widely reported. Both. So when I'm at wooded areas and I'm being bombarded, including for 14 straight hours, like I was a few days ago, nonstop, all fucking day long. Okay, all day long. It was going on all day long, up and down the street, nonstop, while the same airplanes were going by nonstop. Nonstop. We're talking continuous. Nonstop literally means nonstop. So I got on my sound spectrum analyzer and I brought it up, and I had a tape recorder running on me at the same time too, and it was picking up 86 and 107, 86, 107. The airplane noise was picking up the same thing, plus additional sound spectrum frequency stock that the other words, generate, like suck dick and oh my God, and the stalk of gangstalk. Now, let me tell you something right now, my fellow American citizens. What does it say here concerning gangstalking and trigger words? Trigger words have each word has its own sound frequency to it, including one word can have two frequencies, like gang of gangstalk can be 186, and then the ang of gang can have 107. So as that's processing through the brain, and the brain is becoming auditorial resonance entrainment to these sounds, while ultrasonic sound is being processed at the same time, it creates what is known as an auditorial resonance brain entrained pathway. The brain recognizes it. It's called the frequency following response. The brain recognizes it. Additional implants are activated. Because additional implants are working by and through, certain specific emotions, emotional cluster frequencies, and distress, the anxiety that's created from all the noise harassment and the harassment. And then what do these implants, what does this say up here? It says the spinal columns in the back of the head implant is activated when the victim is under duress. I'm experiencing non-stop, almost dub vision every day. Every fucking day. I get stings on the electronic stings on the very top of my head every day, sometimes 20 times a day. I get massive, massive, massive electronic stings to the back of the head at the right and left cranium, the right and left temple, and the right nostril, and right between my eyebrows as well. I get massive extreme pain all over the surrounding ear tissue and in the ears daily, nonstop. I also experience a lot of thermal elastic heating in the ear canal and a lot of torso heating, which falls directly in line with electromagnetic weapons. Hold on 1 second. So what do you think this video is additionally about? Well, when you're multitasking, it's widely reported that when you're listening to music, when you're multitasking, when you're listening, and you can be doing those two things separately or together. So let's just go with multitasking. When I'm at wooded areas, I end up having to do a lot of work at wooded areas. Going to one wooded area to get my clothes, bringing them back to the other wooded area, then hiding them, doing lunch and dinner prep, taking down the tent, taking everything out of it. Okay, then doing my work during the day, then putting the tent back up and putting everything back in it. That's a hell of a lot of multitasking. Okay? So, they seem to be massively, like in the past year and a half, they've been massively depending on sound harassment. Let's just say at least through car convoy harassment and traffic noise harassment. Research car convoy noise harassment and gangstalking. And landscaping noise harassment. Okay, as well as certain types of sounds that come out of certain types of vehicles. And I'm not going to go there because it's not really necessary in this particular video. Now, so, see, because what you got to understand about the brain is that the brain can be accustomed to follow a specific sound if that sound is propped up on a very frequent scale, which is why you see when you go down interstates and highways, you'll see these big gigantic walls, these big gigantic walls on highways and interstates, because there's homes behind those walls. And too many people across the country that have unfortunately lived by those types of highways and freeways complain about the nonstop noise from traffic on the interstate. So then the government went ahead and put up these big gigantic walls to block them out. Because the brain will follow a specific sound if that sound is propped up on a massive scale, okay, including nonstop. The brain will fixate on it and follow it. It's called the frequency following response. Nick Begich, his last name is spelled Begich. Research him to HARP, HARRP, mind control. Nick Begich, HARP, mind control. Watch at least 20 of his videos, and you'll hear him talk about it. All right, hold on a second. And you should also know that gang-stalking crimes widely rely on sound. Voice to skull, ultrasonic sound bone conduction torture, the criminal use of halosonics, ELF broadcasting, the silent sound spread spectrum, and much more. It heavily relies on sound because it knows all about auditorial brain resonance entrainment, including to 1 or 40 sounds or a cacophony of sounds. Now, so let me tell you about a technique that I developed. Now, I want you to listen to me and listen to me well. Now, remember what I said about these types of ear implants? They got high and low band filtering, so that when the different types of environmental noises are heard in the background of a human being that's got one of these in them, while that human being is being talked to by somebody, the ear implant has to be able to distinguish phonics of specific words and how those phonics have their own sound frequencies, so that the speech analyzer of it can distinguish the sound and pitch and melody of the word, so it can interpret the word. And then what it does is, and then that's what the brain does. It takes the sound and the phonics of the word and then interprets it as a word, because that's how we learn language. You should also consider, Jesus said, I gave you a sound mind. That's got a double meaning to it. Literally. Now check this out. So it's able to do this by and through high and low band filtering, because ear implants they work through radio frequencies, which is why these are Wi-Fi accessible and you don't think that the perpetrators ain't taking advantage of that, think again. And by the way, if you've been made homeless and you got one of these in your ears, all they got to do is come on the property and hide a Wi-Fi box or an emitter or an antenna, and they're all set. Absolutely, they're all set. And if you don't think organized crime and the government doesn't have that kind of knowledge, think again. Hold on one second. So let me get into the meat and potatoes of a technique that I developed. And when you hear this is going to blow your mind. This might turn into be a three-part video series, but that's okay too. Hold on. I'm taking a break while I'm making this video because my schedule's so congested. So give me a second because I'm taking a puff off a cigarette and let me get a drink of juice here. I apologize for the interruption. Now, excuse me. All right, I'm going to put that out. All right, so now keeping in mind that these ear implants, they work by and through high and low band filtering. Okay, you should also know that remote neural monitoring can monitor their audio and visual cortex without any implants pertaining to what's reported. So keep that in mind as well. But you see, there's no way that I got a laser surgery scar on the back of my right ear. I probably got one on the back of my left, too. Okay, and there's no way that one of the main things that's been done around me in 3 of the 4 states that I've been gang stalked at, Connecticut, Michigan, and San Diego, and California in 2007, has been non-stop repeated identical words in 3 states since 2002. Non-stop. I got email files to show it. Made in Michigan. Now, when you go to YouTube search box and type in the following, write this down. Write this down. Go to YouTube search box and type in at YouTube search box, M as in Mary, MTS, Gangstalk, oh my God, suck my, DI, and then the number symbol twice for CK of DICK. Now, that's one of about 40 playlists that are online right now that show multiple evidence videos within it. Of people standing around me at everywhere I go and saying gang stalk, oh my God, suck DICK. Different people saying each word, yet each word is said back to back. So when you bring that video playlist up, when you want to sit in a quiet room with a good set of headphones on, and you want to listen for these words and phrases being repeated, okay, from the second you turn the video on, in the background and in the background of the environments I'm in, and when the tape recorder is showing what was caught at specific places. And you're going to see it's happening. So why would they prop up people along all my routes to repeat identical words or phrases, trigger words, if they weren't connected to the ear implants, and the ear implants connected to gang stalking, and gang stalking being directly connected to implants? Think about what I'm saying. There's no way that's an accident. The laser surgery scar on the back of my right ear, okay, how'd it get there? How did the remote neural monitoring islands implants get my eyes? Why are they getting along all my routes and repeating the same exact identical words or phrases? Which is connected to the sensitization method of gang stalking. Google my statements. Okay? There's no way that's an accident. It's mathematically impossible. It's a mathematical absolute, actually. Okay? So, consider this. Now, so these work on high and low band filtering. Meaning that if you are in an area and they're using the trigger words for multiple purposes, including to create duress and emotions, because when you're being harassed every day, you start having emotions like anger, hate, resentment, and then the emotions start to create emotional cluster frequencies that then become attached to the ultrasonic sound auditorial resonance entrainment, which have their own frequencies, because they're creating auditorial and visual brain entrainment is the main goal for these satanic horrors. Okay? So when you're in an environment and you have a gang stalking victim who's doing multitasking, which they can see I'm doing through the islands implants and through the fact that when I do multitasking, it causes me to fall off the auditorial resonance entrainment pathway that they're locked on. Okay? So they got to be able to excite a frequency in my brain that's connected to the auditory entrainment, which is why the identical words and phrases are set along my routes, because each sound of each word has its own frequency. Do you understand? Okay? So when the ear processes it, the ear then processes the sound of the frequency of the word, Okay? And then remote neural monitoring is signaled to execute a command, an executed function back to the victim. Okay? Which can be many. Now, here's the thing to prove that I developed to prove that remote neural monitoring is intentionally interfacing with me. Consider this and consider this well. Now, you see this tape recorder right here? I got my other tape recorder somewhere in here, and I misplaced it because it's a little bit dark in here right now. I know I got it because I just had it about a half hour ago. Now, that's the tape recorder that is usually in that is always in the record mode, 24/7. Hold on one second. I tried to find it before I took it out of my little case thing, but it's not really important for me to show you to you. But it's another tape recorder that's extremely similar to this. This right here is a tape recorder I bought from Amazon. Now, I got a Best Buy tape recorder that's the same make and model. It just looks a little bit different on the top. It's the same exact identical make and model. That Best Buy tape recorder is on me at all times at wooded areas, in the record mode, and when I'm along my routes, which is the main thing that has caused all this identical verbal harassment for 11 straight years. And I was using tape recorders in Michigan, too. Okay? Now, so, all right, let me backtrack for a second because I lost my train of thought. So, what was I talking about? Okay, so I was talking about, okay, so when I'm along my routes, let's just say I'm at a grocery store, and, I've been going to one specific grocery store in La Jolla to charge my chargers for my phone because they gave me permission to do so. So, I'm standing outside, I'm minding my own business, not doing nothing wrong, just standing there minding my own business, using the electrical outlet outside of the store to charge my cell phone battery chargers, which are right here, right? And then what happens is that they prop people up to walk by me that are going in and out of the store to come, as they walk by going in, as they walk by coming out, and sometimes they'll even congregate outside the store. But this is just one of hundreds of places this has happened at, okay? And I'm not saying these other places are places I went to charge my chargers, because it can happen when I go to the movie theater, when I go to the post office, when I go to the coffee shop. It's propped up around me everywhere. Coming and going. If I'm in a coffee shop for 3 hours doing internet work, okay, they come in and sit next to me and do it. Literally. So, check this out. So, when I stand outside of a grocery store and I'm listening to my Amazon tape recorder playing the audio of a YouTube video that I taped from it while I got tissue in my ears, while I'm wearing... Let me show you something here. Just bear with me a second. Bear with me 2 seconds. Let me grab these. I bought from Amazon... I know I got them handy here. Just bear with me. I bought from Amazon a pair of... noise cancellation headphones, the type of headphones that construction workers wear, okay? Because think about it, if you were dealing with this for 11 straight years, I moved to San Diego on August 8, 2011, and it's now September 21st, 2021, and it said every single place I went and lived, okay? And when I go out and about in the community and go along my routes, it said nonstop. I don't understand this. I can't seem to find them right now. Hold on. They're in here somewhere. Okay, so anyways, what I do when I go out and about the community is I wear a pair of... I ordered them from Amazon. You can just if you can just go to Google and type in noise cancellation headphones. They're the real big ones, you know, noise cancellation headphones for construction workers, and you'll see them. So when I go out and about in the community, I put tissue in my ears, not all the way down in the ear, just enough to cover the ear hole. And then I put the noise cancellation headphones on while I'm listening to an audio file. Now, what did I tell you about these ear implants? These ear implants have low and high band filtering. So if one of the main feature and function of these ear implants in general, concerning the ear implants themselves, is to be able to distinguish what a person hears, and then the ear implant mechanisms, okay, decipher what's being said based on its phonics, the sound frequencies of each word, because that's how they're made. And I'm listening to a tape recorder while I'm walking, and then when I get to the grocery store, and I'm getting out all my different chargers, all my USB cords, okay, I'm picking up my duffel bag and putting it in the shopping cart. I'm involved in massive multitasking, right? While I'm listening to an audio file that's got a long conversation between two people. So an ear implant with tissue in your ears, with noise cancellation headphones on, the type that construction workers. You know, like, if you ever been out on the road and you see a construction site and you see a guy with a jackhammer, okay, and he's got headphones on, that's done to block out the noise of the jackhammer, right? I'm talking about those type of headphones. So I got tissues in my ears, I got noise cancellation headphones on, while I'm listening to a interview between two people that was taped from a YouTube video. All going in my ear. How hard do you think it is for the perpetrators to still force me to hear somebody walking by me and saying gangstalk? Very hard. Because remember, they're counting on the sound of the syllables of each word, which is why they're being identically repeated everywhere I go. So they got to be able to get these words in through all that protection. You understand? So what did I do? What did I do to prove remote neural monitoring is interfacing with me? Well, consider this and consider this well. You got what you just heard me state. The tape recorder, the tissue in my ears, the noise cancellation headphones. Their need for them to force me to hear the trigger words. The limitations of the ear implant concerning high and low band filtering. I mean, an ear implant, for it to process a specific unique sound of a word, because that sound has a specific frequency, if other noise is going on, like this, the noise from the interview that I tape recorded from a YouTube video where two guys are talking to each other, while I got tissue in my ears, while I got the construction headset phones on, while they're trying to say a word that's got a lower frequency to it, 86 and 107, gang, okay, and then I think it was 107 and 164 of the word stalk. Okay, or maybe 164 and 405 or something like that, a stalk. You try and get those sounds in while I got all this protection in my ear, while I'm listening to the sounds of other words through my other tape recorder, right? So that caused massive problems for them. Okay? So what did I do to develop a strategy to show that they were having a massive problem still getting through? Meaning forcing my brain to still hear it. They started having louder conversations around me at the grocery store, including by buying through fake conversations where they would stand around me and say it. They started counting on a lot of visual color coding, islands implants, but that's got to do with the visual entrainment. That's another video. So check this out. So how do you think I was able to catch them? Because they were so desperate to get me back on their system when the sound of their word that said around me, each word has its own unique frequency to each spoken word. Now that is connected to the auditory resonance entrainment. That's what excites the potentiated frequency output of that auditory entrained pathway to fire, and then remote neural monitoring latches onto it. Now the only way that they can get latched back onto you is to force the brain to process the sound frequency of the word. And I'm doing 3 different things that's massively blocking it out. So check this out. Say if you go to YouTube search box and you download the audio of a YouTube video, go to YouTube search box and type in the following. Brian 2, his last name is spelled T-E-W, Brian 2 and the Jeff Rentz radio show, CIA MK Ultra. You should be able to find one video that's at least an hour and 30 minutes long or an hour and 10 minutes long. Okay? Now, if you were to watch that video, and you definitely should, because that absolutely applies to all of this. If you want to watch this video, if you want to watch, it applies to the program of Gangstalking. If you listen to that, that's one of the main audio files I've been listening to in the past 2-3 months from the Amazon tape recorder, while my Best Buy tape recorder is in the record mode, because it's in the record mode 24/7. Okay. So, the Best Buy tape recorder's on my arm in the record mode, okay, and it's positioned in a pouch on my arm right below my shoulder, okay, going towards the inner part of my upper arm, meaning that it's about less than a half a foot away from my mouth. And they're propping people up that are usually head level because my ears are on my head, right? So, if I bring up YouTube from my phone and I tape record any YouTube video, but especially the one between Brian 2 and how he's being interviewed by Jeff Rentz. I think his last name is spelled R-E-N-S-C-S-E, okay? So type that into YouTube along with CIA Mind Control MK Ultra, and you'll find the YouTube video I taped the audio from. Now they can see through cyber surveillance what YouTube video you're watching. They can see through the remote neural monitoring islands implants the fact that you, when you were watching it, you got out your other tape recorder and taped it. They can hear through your ears and or your audio cortex that you're listening to it. Therefore, they know it's competing with what they're trying to accomplish when they prop up the people to say the trigger words. So, if they are able to monitor your auditorial cortex every day, they hear everything you say. If they're monitoring your subvocal speech, they're able to recognize when you're having a thought. I'm going to put my 10 up. Okay? I'm going to turn on my phone. I'm going to make a video. Okay? So, what's one of the ways that you can prove remote neural monitoring can be interfacing with you? So it looks like this is going to be a 3-part video series, so just stay with me. So check this out. Now, so, because I'm at 59 minutes right now, and so the third video should start at 66 minutes. So, take everything I just said to you and set it aside for about 3 minutes, because I want to say something to you that's going to help you understand the following, and then how you're going to incorporate the following into what you've already heard. Okay? Now, consider this. You see this light right here? This light, when I'm going to turn it off, and then I'm going to turn it back on. And you're going to understand why in a second. So, when I turn this light off, you no longer see the light. But when I turn it on, what do you think you're going to see? You see the light lighten up the area that you see got lit up, okay, all at once. You did not see the light from this type of flashlight light up 1 foot per second. I'm sorry, 1 foot per nanosecond. You'll understand this in a second. Now, when you go home and you turn on your light of any room, the light travels 1 foot per nanosecond. That's a billionth of a second. That's the amount of time it takes for the light to travel 1 foot in the room, okay? Which is why you can't see light traveling through your room when you turn on the light in your room. When you turn on the light in your room, you see the entire room instantly lit up. Because, consider this, you process information in your brain at the microsecond level, which is a thousandth of a second. A nanosecond is a billionth of a second. So when you look at the huge time differential between a billionth of a second and a thousandth of a second, well, a billion is 1,000 million. And how many thousands does it take to create a million? I think it's 10,000 thousands. Okay? So we're talking about extreme difference here, right? So let me rephrase this. When you turn on the light in your house, in a room, any room in your home, you're going to see that light light up the entire room, seemingly all at once. But when you turn on that light, it takes the light 1 nanosecond to travel 1 foot. But your brain processes information by the microsecond, right? So that's a thousandth of a second, all right? The speed of light is extremely fast. We all know this, right? So consider this. It's widely reported that remote neural monitoring that's interfacing with gangstalking victims is put in a supercomputer and integrated even with other tech like voice to skull, ELF transmissions, and other technology that they have been integrated within the same system, because more than one type of technology is being used on gangstalking victims. This is outwardly apparent when you look at all this. You know, they got to obviously have different type of software programs working in one computer in order to decipher all of the neurological and biological activities, okay, and for neural encoding as well, because they not only read from the brain, they also send information to the brain. Absolutely. So the supercomputer that these satanic, filthy whores are using has got it's multimodal. It's got massive amounts of different software programs in it, and it's got massive amounts of different integrated tech within it as well. So this supercomputer operates on it operates more than likely. Let's just say, for instance, at the speed of light. which is widely reported that it's operating through. The speed of light. So if the brain is processing information at a microsecond, and the computer is taking information back and forth from the victim and to the victim at a billionth of a second, we're talking about computational difference concerning time rate. So set that aside just for a second. I know this seems like a lot, but just bear with me. You'll see this in a sec. So, when you go to Google and you research cyber surveillance and gang stalking, you're going to see tens of thousands of gang stalking victims are saying they're being cyber surveilled in real time at all times. Their phones, their computers, when they go to a library and use a library computer, every single thing a gang stalking victim does on any and all electronics, let's just say phones, tablets, and computers, no matter whose computer they're using, a library's computer, a school computer, or their own computer, tablet, or phone. Everything is monitored by these wild, satanic, criminally insane wild animals. Every single thing online that a gang stalking victim does is being monitored every second of every day. Everything that the brain and body processes is being monitored every single second of every single day. Why do you think they call it remote neural monitoring? They're monitoring you neurally remotely. Okay? And then the brain is just crunching, and then their computer is just crunching the data. And they look at the data results. So, if they can see that they're having a hard time exciting the potentiated frequency output of an auditorially trained pathway that also has the offset sound carrier, that also has, so this is an ultrasonic sound wave. In fact, let me check this out. Let me show you something here real fast. This right here, this all matters. It's all intertwined. This right here is an ultrasonic sound detector app. Look at what it's reading out right now in real time. Let it run for a second. And I'm at a wooded area. Okay? And it's low today. You wouldn't believe what it looks like when they got it turned way up. It literally feels like my head's about to burst when they got it turned way up, which is what they did to me yesterday and the day before. I'm sorry, not yesterday, the day before yesterday and the day before that. You should have seen, and I can't show it to you on this one I'm pointing to, because the ultrasound detector app is on both phones, and 2 days ago when they were blasting me all day long as massive sound harassment was propped up all around me for 14 straight hours, the graph was reading out way up here, just nonstop, all the way up to the top, all the way to the bottom, all the way up to the top, all the way to the bottom, including all the way up to and past 71 dBSPLs at 21.67 and 8,000 hertz. This is a lower readout. So this right there shows you that ultrasound is in the environment, and I'm at a friggin' wooded area. It has no buildings, no telephone poles, no cable lines or nothing. Total, complete wooded area. Except for the satanic shit that they brought up on the property and probably got hidden at multiple places. Oh yeah, you wouldn't believe what victims are finding in their homes. So that right there is proven to you in real time, because watch, I'm going to take that app away and bring it back up again. So you can obviously see that this is being brought up in real time. Oops.